Home inspections in New York, what you really need to know. Full series videos 1 through 6 included in this presentation. You may also see these videos separately at www.longislandhomeinspection.org. Home Inspections in New York, what you really need to know, is a 6-part video series. Video 1, who can you choose to complete the inspection? Video 2, determining expertise and experience of inspector or inspectors. Video 3, determining type of inspection report and when you will receive it. Video 4, where to find a good inspector, including errors and omissions insurance. Video 5, what is inspected and what is included with the inspection. And lastly, video 6, the cost of the inspection and how to get started. All these videos can be found at www.longislandhomeinspection.org. Home inspections in New York, what you really need to know. Video 1, who can you choose to do your inspection? What are your home inspection options? Well, you could do the inspection yourself. And don't forget, you're paying a great deal of money for a property. Do you really want to take the chance that you will miss something or you are not looking for things that you should be? It's just not worth it. Again, the same thing for a relative, friend, a handy person, or even a contractor. They normally don't know what to look for. They are not trained in all the different aspects of a residential construction. And then the last, you could hire someone who is deemed a professional by New York State, someone who has a license and they're deemed qualified to evaluate properties. And just note, certain banks or mortgage programs now require a home inspection by a licensed professional. Hiring the right professional is by far the best choice. What type of professional are we talking about? New York State has determined that you have 3 professional options to choose from when hiring someone to do a property inspection. And they are a New York State licensed architect, a New York State licensed engineer, or a New York State licensed home inspector. Let's look at the professionals who are licensed to perform a property inspection in New York. Architects. Architects have a 4-year degree in architecture and should be licensed in New York State as an architect. If you desire an architect to complete your inspection, you may run across these issues. Finding an architect that does home inspections. Many of them do not. And the cost may be accelerated due to the fact that most architects, at least in my opinion, charge a great deal of money for a home inspection. Number 2, a licensed engineer. An engineer has earned a 4-year engineering degree. They should have a New York State engineer license number. Issues to consider. Numerous engineering degrees such as mechanical, electrical, civil, structural, engineering, etc., none of which have anything or very little to do with completing a thorough property evaluation. Engineers are not required to take any additional courses, such as licensed home inspectors do, to continue to do home inspections. If you want to use an engineer, it would be best if they have completed home inspection courses. Number 3, licensed home inspectors. The minimum qualifications to be a licensed home inspector in New York are as follows. Complete a 140-hour home inspection class. Pass a New York State home inspection test. 70% is a passing grade. Number 3, carry a general liability policy for damage to the home they're inspecting or personal injury to anybody in the home. Please note, this does not cover any items that should have been inspected and weren't. All home inspectors must complete 24 hours of continuing education every 2 years. Home inspections in New York. What you really need to know. Video 2. Determining expertise and experience of inspector. You want to look for the experience and expertise of the inspector. But how? Well, I'm going to show you 3 ways that you can determine that. Number 1, determine the years licensed. Engineers and architects, you can determine their license number either from a business card, a website, or a brochure at the website in green in front of you. When it comes to a home inspector, determine the inspector's license number, and note that all New York home inspector license numbers are 11 digits, starting with 160000, followed by 5 numbers. Example, my license number is 160000257764. Recent New York State home inspector license numbers are approaching 16000070,000. The last 5 digits are what you should be looking at. The higher the number, the least amount of experience the inspector has. More years licensed may indicate the more experience and expertise an inspector has, but not always. Number 2, obtain a list of the inspector's recent inspections, including addresses, names, and phone numbers. If completed inspections are not listed on someone's website, I think they should be, minus the phone number. I would suggest trying to obtain at least 10 completed inspections within the last month. It might be easier to either send an email or possibly make a phone call to get this information. Number 3, I would look for, again on the website or brochure, additional courses taken, articles written, awards, honors, additional certifications, detailed information that is on the website would probably indicate that somebody is an expert. I would not consider the following. Posted reviews. Example, greatest inspector in the world. There is normally no way for you to determine who posted reviews unless you can verify. They obviously could be made up. Any claims of the amount of inspections completed. Example, 10,000 inspections completed. Unless this can be substantiated with dates and addresses, I would completely ignore it. Any other type of claim that can't be verified. Number 1 rated home inspector. Oh, really? Well, who rated them number 1? Usually no one but themselves. I would also avoid the inspection, sale, or discount. This is probably a desperate attempt by someone who is trying to get inspections because they may not do a very good job, thus no referrals or business. Home inspections, what you really need to know. Video 3, determine type of inspection report and when you will receive it. There are 5 different types of home inspection report formats. Number 1, a checklist report. Number 2, a modified checklist report. Number 3, a narrative report. Number 4, a non-diagram picture narrative report. And lastly, number 5, a diagram picture narrative report with approximate repair and replacement costs. You would want to receive any type of report within 24 hours. Let's look at the types of reports. A checklist report. Here is an example of one. Needs repairs. Roof is checked off, siding is checked off, grading is checked off, and that's it. You don't know what the problems are, and it's very, very limited. Many inspectors prepare this type of report during the actual inspection. No information is typically provided regarding remaining life expectancy, type of problems, and the ramifications of these problems. In reality, a checklist report provides you with very limited information. A checklist report requires that you draw conclusions regarding the inspection findings. A checklist report is also limited in its ability to communicate information. And there are no pictures or approximate repair or replacement costs included. Number 2, a modified checklist report is a checklist report with space added for writing comments. Here is an example of one. If you notice, the roof, siding, and grating have been checked off, and the repairs are noted. For example, roof has cupped roof shingles. Siding has vinyl siding that is cracked. The grating is towards the house. A modified checklist report is normally prepared on site and normally hurried through in the inspector's handwriting, which may or may not be legible, and lacks important information such as approximate repair or replacement costs, and it has no pictures. Number 3, a narrative report. Narrative reports include written narratives that explain the scope of the problem. Here is an example. The first floor was not leveled due to the main metal support post being tilted. The tilting of the metal post was caused by a substandard footing underneath the post in the floor of the basement. Diagrammed pictures are missing, which by far make the report easier to understand. And the approximate repair and replacement costs are missing. Number 4, a non-diagram picture narrative report. There is a picture of a house. Underneath it, it says damaged roof flashing. Narrative reports with pictures are good, but the pictures are not diagrammed with arrows, circles, etc. Therefore, the pictures are more difficult to figure out where and what the problems are. They are also missing approximate repair and replacement costs. Number 5, a diagram picture narrative report with approximate repair and replacement costs. Here is a picture of a driveway that has one circle that's obviously designed to highlight a part of the driveway, as is the arrow next to it. And here is the narrative statement. Asphalt driveway is at the end of its lifespan. Alligator cracks and substandard asphalt are prominent on all driveway areas. Driveway needs replacement. Approximate cost for replacement of asphalt driveway, $2,000. Contact specialist. This is by far the best and most informative report you can get. Most of our clients use this report to go back to the seller and renegotiate the price of the property. To determine the type of report you will receive, you need to see one which most good inspectors put on their website. Don't take for granted that it is a certain type. You want to see the real thing. If one is not on the site and you are still interested, ask to have one emailed to you. It should have a date on it and be a recent report. Home inspections in New York, what you really need to know. Video 4, where to find a good inspector and errors and omissions insurance. Here are some good resources to find home inspectors. The internet or social media websites. Home inspector organizations such as the American Society of Home Inspectors, ASHI, the International Association of Certified Home Inspectors, INTERNACHI, the National Association of Home Inspectors, NAHI. You may also find a good inspector that is a Better Business Bureau accredited business. Go to their website. And there's an example of the accredited business symbol. Referrals from friends, relatives, or agents. And possibly a lawyer that represents you. Errors and omissions insurance. This is an insurance that protects you in case the inspector misses items they should not have as defined by the New York State Standards of Practice for Home Inspectors. This is an optional insurance that can be carried by the inspector that is not required by New York State to do property evaluations. Whoever you decide on using, ask them to email you a copy of their current errors and omissions insurance certificate with effective dates for the current time frame. Home inspections in New York. What you really need to know. Video 5. What is inspected and what is included with the inspection? What is inspected? New York, in their state standards of practice for home inspectors, defines the minimum of what needs to be inspected by your inspector. According to the New York State Standards of Home Inspection, a home inspection is primarily a visual inspection and is not technically exhaustive, which means nothing is taken apart or dismantled. If an inspection were technically exhaustive, it would take many more hours or days to complete, and the cost would be thousands instead of hundreds of dollars. An inspection is not a code inspection, and it will not identify concealed conditions or latent defects. The New York State Standards for Home Inspectors include the following that need to be inspected. In the interior, electrical system, heating and cooling, plumbing system, basement and foundation, structure, attic insulation and ventilation, hot water tank inspection, the kitchen, interior room conditions, including floors, walls, ceilings, windows, doors, and electric, and the bathrooms, including toilets, sinks, showers, and tubs. On the exterior, the foundation, windows, doors, siding, roofing, decks, porches, walkways, driveways, and garages. These are just some of the items that are not required to be evaluated according to the New York State Standards for Home Inspectors. Pools and spas, environmental hazards such as lead, asbestos, radon, or mold, fences, testing of appliances, wood boring insect inspection, bulkheads, tennis courts, playgrounds, sprinkler system, sewage disposal systems, solar systems. Inspectors are not required to move any furniture or items. Any mechanical system that has been shut down is not inspected. And New York State does not require inspectors to determine repair or replacement cost or lifespans of items. Instruments that are used during the inspection. A good inspector will use the best tools to enhance their inspection and make it a more thorough one. I would encourage you to make sure that a thermography camera is used during the inspection. This allows the inspector to check for moisture behind walls and to also determine if there are electrical shorts in the wiring. New York State clearly states that you can request your inspector to inspect and evaluate additional items above the minimum items required. For example, if you wanted to have a sprinkler inspected, you would make sure that the inspector would inspect that for you. The bottom line here is you need to review with all candidates what they inspect because it could vary from one inspector to another. The New York State Standards of Practice for a Home Inspector can be found at this address. Warranties. If any type of warranty is included, you need to find out three things. What is covered? Is there a deductible or cap on the amount paid out? What is the time frame of the coverage? And note, if the property comes with a warranty of any kind through an agent or seller, make sure you read the fine print. What is included with the inspection? Items included in your inspection besides the report and the actual inspection could benefit you and save you money. You would want to hire an inspector who includes a wood-boring insect or termite inspection with a certificate for your mortgage lender included. You don't want to go looking for a wood-boring insect inspection separately from a home inspection. Other items you may look for are home resource books, a newsletter on home advice or memberships for home advice, recall check on your appliances, which basically is a service that will tell you if any of your appliances have a recall from the manufacturer, and of course a new car, and I'm only kidding. Home inspections in New York, what you really need to know. Video 6, cost of the inspection and how to get started. Cost of the inspection. This video would not be complete unless we talk about the cost of the type of inspector and inspection you want, as detailed in this video. Normally, the first question we get from calls to our office is very simply, how much is your inspection? Obviously, you know now from watching these videos that that would only be one of the questions you would ask. What I have shown you in this video is that all inspectors and inspections are not the same, but the perception is that they are. If all home inspections were the same, then the cost of the inspection would be the only question you would need to ask. Obviously, you know better. In the grand scheme of things, you are paying a great deal of money, normally hundreds of thousands of dollars, for what, in most cases, will be the home you will be living in. The cost of the type of inspection and inspector you need who meets the criteria detailed in this video is worth the cost. Don't be penny wise, which is the cost of the inspection, and dollar dumb, the amount you are spending for the property. Here's an example. The cost of the property is $400,000. You get the cheapest inspection you can find, let's say for $300. That's 0.075% of the property cost. If you get the top of the line inspection, it may run you $600. But you get the peace of mind of knowing exactly what you are purchasing. And that's $600 compared to the $400,000 you're paying for the property is 1/10 of 1%. In the long run, a great inspection is worth the cost. How do you get started? Well, you put down on a piece of paper these 9 inspector evaluation criteria. Number 1, what is the credentials of the inspector? His license, how long he's been licensed, any degrees that they may have, any membership in associations, any additional studies or certifications, awards or other. The experience of the inspector, the years they've been inspecting, the references from recent inspections or other. Number 3, the type of report. Picture diagram, narrative report with approximate repair and replacement costs is the best you can get. Does the inspector have errors and omissions insurance? Number 5, what is inspected? Note anything that you want inspected that normally would not be, and make sure that that is included. Number 6, any special way the inspection is performed, the tools used, the number of inspectors on the inspection, etc. Number 7, any warranties or guarantees you may receive and what they entail. Number 8, items included with the inspection. Are you getting a wood boring inspection? Are they going to address the environmental concerns such as mold, asbestos, lead, or other? And of course, the last thing would be the cost. From this point, write down all the information from each prospect and make the right choice. Make the time to do this. There is a lot of your time and money at stake. Good luck.